All right, y'all. Sorry about that. The reason why I'm saying sorry about that, because hopefully I figured out on the quickness how to edit a video, but I had already, I was, doing my thing, y'all, doing a premiere reaction of Ren's suicide. I did a whole intro and everything, and then when it got down to the countdown and the video playing, my computer said audio rendered error, restart your computer. So I had to stop the recording, restart, and go back. So I missed the premiere. I'm as far as there's the chat replay, but I already missed the premiere because of this. So I still want to get into it. Again, rest in peace, Joe Hughes. Ren, you are a unicorn. You are amazing. Thank you for this. And here's my first time reaction to listen to Ren's suicide. I like this beat.
Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
The light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide.
It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. I'm so fucking lonely beneath this narcissistic. Can't
There's the pig.
Secret. Miscount sheep, I can't sleep. A misfit. Some say trouble, but some say sadistic. Bruises my brother, one time or the other. My skin felt counterfeit. Silicone rubber bruises my sister. Skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you.
Yo. He pretty much, in my opinion, my perception, he pretty much is explaining, peeling back the layers of being a human and still feeling like there's nothing inside. Like that is so deep to with this visuals of peeling back his own layers, trying to find that sliver of hope, and is realizing you're still an empty husk. Like Ren is special, man.
One time or the other, my skin felt counterfeit. Silicone rubber bruises my sister. Skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you. Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
Oh, that was dope. Yo, these visuals are nasty.
I'm so fucking washed up and seasick. Masochistic kid with a split lip. 6 feet deep, I can't eat, I'm nervous. Won't stay down cause my body purges. Useless my mother, can't keep in my supper. Skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your karma. Draw for the sword, then drive through the armor.
Hold on, let me hear it again.
I'm keeping my supper, skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your karma. Draw for the sword, then drive through the armor.
Cheeks so pale because they need color. So pretty much you're walking around feeling like you're dead. Truth is my father. That the way he just transitioned and put those together of I'm walking around feeling dead on the inside and outside, and the only thing that really can help is the way I look at it is the father's the head of the table. If you look at the head, the truth will always be prevailing ahead. That's why I take it from. Like when you listen to Ren, you have to go in your head space to a different dimension of deepness, because he will say some things that mentally you'll be like, huh? But your soul gets. Ooh. Again, mentally you'll be like, huh? But your soul gets.
Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
Treading on the tracks at nighttime, it never felt like the right time, because you know, you're not he's showing train tracks, but to me, metaphorically, you're treading on the tracks. You're on the tracks of wanting to do suicide. And speaking of that, please, please, please speak to someone. Anyone, use a suicide prevention hotline. Like, you are not alone, but the answer, and trust me, the answer is not suicide. The rippling effect you will have on everyone. Just always forward, never backwards, and delayed does not mean denied. But his perception, for me, my perception of it is, you're on a track of suicide. It never feels quite right. Suicide, suicide, suicide. You're always thinking about it on the tracks. It's an intrusive thought. You want to do it, but it never really feels quite right.
Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide.
Yo, these visuals.
Suicide, suicide, suicide.
Here's a deep part. The party wall on piano.
Take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess
Oh. Y'all. You know the Fibonacci sequence, like the next few numbers are, how do I say this, are added up by the two numbers before it. So when
it's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an
empty cup.
You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. There's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside a trunk, inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped.
Oh my goodness. Yo.
The trunk inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that.
I locked my youth in a trunk inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over the same bridge you jumped from. Pretty much right then and there, when he realized what happened to his friend Joe. He couldn't be a kid no more. He had to grow up really fast. So he locked his youth in that trunk. And when he dumped it over the bridge as a way of saying the night Joe jumped is the same night he lost his youth, because everything went with Joe when he jumped. That's deep. That is. And the fact Ren is making it normal for us to be so vulnerable, which I love. I just love being vulnerable myself, because if you can't be real and vulnerable with yourself, then who will? But for him to be so vulnerable and to use the arms of the internet to reach people, for us to know you're not alone. But if you look at Ren, he's the better side of coming through it and coming out the other side. It may be battle worn, but he fought the battle and he came out to the other side. Like, Ren is just a gift to us.
Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside a trunk, inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility.
Oh,
I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as well.
oh my goodness. Hold on. Oh. I just had to hold that in. That was... the way you think when you're kids, when you think your best friends and you are indestructible, you will never leave each other. You will never fall apart. That pact you guys made, that those memories you guys made raising kids and a family, like, Ren does a good job of putting you in his shoes and his emotions, but just I fucking miss you and I miss myself. When something like that happens, you lose a part of yourself in any big trauma situation. And when when it comes to suicide, all these emotions pop up with selfishness at first. Why did you leave me? Why didn't you talk to me? Then you start mourning, missing, and to go through this at this level, and Ren's just being vulnerable and giving us his feelings, which we've all been there, to be in that spot. If we have not been there, that is, you are one of the many few who should be grateful. But to some of us who's been there, either with a friend or with ourselves, to hear someone break down, saying that they miss themselves when you're going through that process, you're still trying to find yourself, that can be very hard. Very hard.
Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as well. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Sager, Justin, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. The distance is my plaster cast. The truth is, to the day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find that anger. All I find is missing you, man. I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying and holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Now the way
Oh, being an indigo child myself and being really empathetic, is this one is getting me. And I'm trying to get my feelings in check, y'all. I don't even know if I want to post this. I honestly just think I want to redo one where I'm not so emotional and just tell y'all that it's not the original one, because this is raw, and this is, all I want to do is just give Ren a fucking hug and tell him it'll be fine, and he's going to make it through all this, all of this. He just needs to keep big man first and keep Joe in his memories, because he would want him to get through all of this. And I know having to have this thought and going through something like this while you're sick, having to go through treatments, people prodding and poking you, you swallowing pills, and all right, y'all, let's get through it.
never even call them up. The distance is my plaster cast. The truth is, to the day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find that anger. All I find is missing you, man. I miss you. with all my rhymes. I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge.
This part right here, this...
And holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it works, cause I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I could find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you absurd. Fuck.
Body never found, so we have to wave at the hearse. We never got a chance to wave at the hearse. And then he said he was late like a jerk. He feels like, in some way, somehow, Ren feels like if he was just a bit sooner, he would have saved his friend. And I bet you he feels like part of that is his fault for not being there on time. And that guilt can literally kill a man. I'm not gonna take all day trying to figure out how to edit. I'm just gonna read this straight through to you guys. He posted it 7 days ago under the video and pinned it, so I'm just gonna read it straight through to you guys. 97 days ago. Ren said, "Today I want to write something beautiful and eloquent, but I've been staring at my computer screen for the past 10 minutes blankly. So I'll just write. Today's the 1st of June, is my friend Joe's birthday. I first met Joe when I was 8 years old. My friend Josh said I had to meet this guy, so we both walked over to his. It took about 10 minutes from my house. I was greeted by this kid covered head to toe in freckles. He grinned at us, climbed onto the back of his sofa and screamed, 'Swanton bomb.' Then front flipped off the top and landed right onto his back on the stone floor. He lay still for a moment, twitched a few times, then got up, grinned at us, brushed himself off, and did it again. This was Joe. He'd do anything to make people laugh. He ended up becoming one of my best friends. He was there when we stole our first cigarettes out of his mom's pack. Way too young. He was there when I had my first kiss with a girl twice my size on the back of the 42 bus. He was there when I first got so drunk I threw up in the woods after drinking as much White Lightning cider as we could. I was there when he did his first backflip on skates and saw him do a 720 off of the pier cave. That moment became legendary. Joe was the funny one in our friend group. He'd make us laugh till it hurt. No one had a bad word to say about him. It was impossible not to like him. Usually we put celebrities, athletes, and actors on pedestals, turned them into role models, and admired them from afar. The person I admired was Joe. Him and Sager knew every word to the songs outright, would get drunk at parties, and they'd be singing along as loud as they could. It gave me a lot of confidence back then. On Christmas Eve 2010, I was sitting in a pub with Joe. He'd been feeling low after a couple of consecutive breakups. He tried to check himself into a mental health outpatient facility a few weeks earlier, but they turned him away because he didn't have an appointment. Bullshit. He turned to me and said that sometimes he wished he could just walk into the sea and keep walking. That is, He said it in a kind of half-joking throwaway comment type of way, then took a sip of his drink, walked over to the jukebox and put on Dig by Incubus. If I knew that was the last time I see Joe, I would have hugged him, told him how much I loved him and how much I looked up to him, how much we all loved him, and I wouldn't have left that pub. I didn't know that, so I finished my drink and said Happy Christmas and left. 2 nights after Christmas, I got woken up by a phone call at 3 a.m. It was my friend Ella. She told me Joe was on the Menai Bridge, a large suspension bridge connecting the mainland to the Isle of Anglesey, where we lived. He'd been on the phone to her in tears saying goodbye. He told her to tell everyone he loved them. I pulled on my clothes as fast as I could and started running towards the bridge. It was up a hill. I lived about a 10-minute walk away. I could run it in 5. As I ran, I started dialing, then redialing his number. The line was busy, which was a good sign. It meant he was still on the phone to someone. As I got about halfway, the busy tone changed. It told me the line was out of service. I got a sinking feeling and picked up my speed. I arrived to the bridge minutes after I left my house. It was definitely quiet. Definitely quiet. I was the first person to arrive. I got there probably about 2 minutes too late. Joe's body was never found. Rest in peace, Joe. Initially, we refused to believe he was gone. The Coast Guard came out that night with boats and helicopters. Me and my friends spent the next 10 days putting up missing posters everywhere we could, walking up and down beaches with flashlights, getting about 3 hours sleep at night. When you're walking up and down a beach with a torch when it's dark, everything looks like a body. We still haven't found Joe. As his birthday came around, I wrote a song, Freckled Angels, a song I dedicated to Joe, which I sang in front of his friends and family. A charity football match was put on for him, raising money for the RNLI, where I won 2 bottles of wine in a raffle. I drank them both as quickly as I could, naturally turned to my friend and probably slurred something along the lines of, "This is the last time I'll ever drink." That was 12 years ago. I had to add some humor somewhere because my feelings hurt. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since. My first ever album I named Freckled Angels in tribute of one of the best people I ever knew. Skip forward some years, I've been sitting on this song I wrote a few years ago. It always felt a little incomplete. It was going to be my next release, but I was dreading it because of the feeling of incompletion. I decided very last minute to do something about it. I sat by my piano and the rest of the song fell out of me. I hadn't thought about Joe in a little while, and the song initially wasn't going to be about him, but the words all fell out of me. I wrote and recorded a whole 2 minutes extra, recording each part as I wrote it. Tears spewing out of my eyes pretty much the whole time, and decided not to do my usual thing of perfecting each line. I just recorded every line as it came. During this campaign, I will be raising money for the RNLI, the group of brave men and women who spent hours tirelessly looking for Joe after the night he went missing. I'll also be donating 50% of the profit on all copies of the Freckled Angels album directly to Joe's family as a nice surprise gift. I will include links to the RNLI donation page below where 100% of the money will go to support them. I will be traveling to the UK later this month to make a music video, and have carved out a couple of days where I will travel to my hometown of the Isle of Anglesey to present the Royal National Lifeboat Institution with a check of all the money raised. And then it has all the links that you can find towards this campaign, which I also will put those links in my description below. Honestly said all I needed to say during the video. In honor and rest in peace of Joe. Make sure you guys, I did do a, when I first got into Ren, I didn't know how deep the album was and meant to him at first until after I did a full reaction, but I did do way back when, I did do a full album reaction of Freckled Angels. So if you guys want to check Freckled Angels out, as far as my reactions, please go ahead. I later on found out how deep the album meant, and honestly, as a reactor, I felt out of respect not to do any like more reactions from it, do like a up-to-date reactions on the album, just for the fact of I don't feel right making any money reviews off of an album that it's meant that deep for someone. Also, at the same time, I understand it supports Ren, so it puts me in like a bind. But I would appreciate if you guys click those links down below. He's raising money for the RNLI. I'll have a link to his Freckled Angels album, and then a link to this new song as well. Renegades, it's been amazing. Thank you guys for allowing me to be vulnerable to you guys. Thank you guys for sticking by this reaction while I got my feelings in check. And thank you, Ren, for being this vulnerable and letting us know more about you and more about Joe and how you feel about your friend. And thank you for just being a gift to all of us. And to the ones who haven't had a voice to say it to you, thank you for saving some of our lives with your music and you being you. Honestly, thank you. You already know what to do. Like this video, comment, share, hit this bell to be notified. I'm all out of whack. Hit the subscribe button to follow your boy for more reactions, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. It's been real. It's your boy LoccdWolf. Always forward, never backwards, and delayed does not mean denied. I'll catch you guys on the next one.